Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. It is November 6th, 2017. Raw is in the UK tonight, and I'm here with Raj Giri and returning once again, Justin LaBar. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing well, man. Justin?
Happy to be back.
Oh, great to have you, man. Great to have you as part of Wrestling Inc. So you got, what, 2 weeks now of the podcast?
Yeah, 2 weeks in. We've had 2 weekends of Chair Shot Reality. It's been I think successful, and we've had a great response. Great, whether it's positive comments or debate on the videos. I had a column that went out a few days ago on Wrestling Inc. that you can go back and read, talking about WrestleMania, about my matches I'm predicting for this year. Why, unfortunately, I don't think the UK fans are going to get one anytime soon, and I give my prediction of where I think next year will be in some other venues in the next 5 years.
Very nice, man. Yeah, definitely check that out. I'm seeing nothing but great stuff in my social feed talking about you joining Wrestling Inc. So great to have you on board, man.
Yeah, and Matt got, I guess, some smear ad or something against him that he's having to deal with tonight. His election's tomorrow, but he will be back next week.
Yeah, it's crazy. The moment of truth.
A moment of truth.
Yeah, man. So tonight, Raw, I'm sure many of you had it spoiled because it taped, 7 or 8 hours before it aired in Manchester tonight. I tried to avoid spoilers, but I knew just enough to have the end segment ruined for me. Man, where to begin? I suppose at the beginning tonight with looking at The Miz coming out tonight with The Miz to Raj. Starting it off, interrupted by Angle and talking about what's going to happen at Survivor Series with Team Angle, man. Team Raw. Angle is the captain against Shane is the captain, talking about how they got Braun. It was so weird tonight. I mean, I guess we should jump ahead a little bit to talk about the segment. I mean, they set up Braun versus The Miz for later in the evening. But what do you guys think, having a little more inside knowledge about the announcement tonight that came out that Jason Jordan is going to be the 5th member of Team Raw? Not Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns is scheduled to return on the Go Home show.
I think it's much stronger because not that Roman's not on Team Raw, but they're building to the Shield versus the New Day. And so you still get the Shield reunion, and it's just one fewer star on Team Raw. But I think having Roman off and the Shield reunion is a lot stronger than Roman on Team Raw. So I thought it was cleverly done by taking the titles off, and that way you transition to that 6-way match.
Yeah, there's 2 wins to this. As Raj said, you're going to get the Shield reunion that we were supposed to get in Minneapolis for TLC. We'll get it for Survivor Series, and quite frankly, it makes more sense having finally the Shield reunion happen at Survivor Series, given the nature of what Survivor Series is all about. And then Jason Jordan joining Team Raw, I saw people upset about it on social media, but that's the idea. I think WWE has, I think WWE has succumbed to the idea, and accepted that, okay, he's not, I think when they made him Angle's son, they thought, okay, maybe this will work. Maybe the rub will actually happen. And he had a great bit of momentum with American Alpha. But I think they've accepted that, okay, people aren't buying this. They're rejecting against him. So he's going to have to turn heel eventually. From the get-go, from week 1, I said, let's find out that he's exploiting Kurt. He's not really a son. It's been one big scandal. And I think having him on Team Raw is going to be the first step to that heel turn, whether it's a flat-out heel turn there at Survivor Series or it just starts to plant the seeds. And that will be better for all parties involved.
Yeah, if that is the case, I mean, there's a lot of times in the past where we think WWE is building to something and they're not. It's just, like Matt Hardy is a perfect example. But I mean, if this is the subtle ways of them, Kurt Angle kind of showing some favoritism and Jason Jordan manipulating him, I think that's something that can work, because clearly what they've been doing so far hasn't.
I would hope it is, because look how passionate Booker T is about Jason Jordan not belonging. I mean, now, to pull out from Booker T's greatest hits each Monday is a task in and of itself. But when you sit there and listen to him, oh man, favoritism. What is going on here? He can't be getting coached to get this worked up unless there's a true payoff, right?
Yeah. Booker tweeted something at you tonight, Glenn.
Yeah, I've made this joke 3 or 4 times before, but I want a Twitter feed that just is everything he says we've got to love. Because if you keep a running list, it's actually really ridiculous. He'll just pick obscure things. I think tonight, what was it? Finn Balor's dedication and merit in the ring. You got to love it. He just loves to lean on that phrase. I don't even think he realizes what he's saying. So I tweeted the joke that I'm like, hey, we need a novelty Twitter account about this. And then he retweeted it and said, gotta love it. I was like, well, there you go. He's in.
There you go.
Yeah. But no, hey, I'll take any retweets I can get, man. It was great. Yeah. But so tonight, first off, and Justin, I think you need to start doing entire podcasts just in your Booker T voice. I think that would be take it to the next level, as it were.
Oh, shucky ducky quack quack.
Oh man. So I'd already buried in my mind that this happened tonight. We had a guitar on a pole match between Elias and Jason Jordan.
It's been 20 years since the last on a pole match on Raw.
Really?
20 years, yeah.
Because they're the most ridiculous match.
Well, it's not different than a ladder match, really.
Yeah, but it makes it a ladder match. So when you're getting something off a pole, it's like, oh, hey, climb 3 ropes, boom, grab it, done. And the guitar, it was hanging down tonight. It wasn't like a belt dangling over the ladder of the briefcase. This wasn't like a suspenseful moment. Will he make it in time? It was like, boom, boink, done.
And it just sounds stupid.
Oh, yeah.
But anytime you say on a pole, it just brings back bad memories. But
first off, I don't want to see any kind of pole match in WWE when they're in a PG era because it takes away any true chance of entertainment when poles and such. Secondly, am I the only one that just kind of feels it's funny that like we're getting all this emphasis on guitars and guitars on pole matches and hitting people with guitars, and Jeff Jarrett's a free agent right now. Just
he is, and WWE is actually paying for him right now.
Yes, exactly. Trying to get him clean so he can make a Rumble appearance and hit somebody with a guitar.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't see that happening.
It's not a real report. Nobody print that. It's not a real report.
No, it's not happening.
So what was up with the crowd tonight? Elias was the first of the, wait, are they into this guy or do they hate him? They seem to do that with a lot of people tonight. Very quickly polarizing reactions.
Well, you got to remember they sweeten the crowd noise a lot too. Like the announcement of Jason, and this is kind of why I don't think they're turning Jason Jordan heel. The announcement where Jason Jordan was put on Team Raw got loud boos at the arena. And we have like a video clip of it that we posted earlier today. And when you watched it on TV, it was like, fairly neutral, slightly positive reaction. So they sweetened that crowd noise. Whereas I think if they're going for the full heel, they'd want the boos to be heard. So
yeah, and ample time tonight with that delay.
Yeah, they had plenty of time. Their production team is awesome. It doesn't take them too long to do their magic.
They weren't awesome in the Pete Dunne entrance, but that's another story.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So after that,
I will say this: I thought the UK crowd was better tonight than a lot of times in the past, where they're just being pricks during the show, trying to take over. They weren't really trying to do that here.
No beach balls.
No beach balls. No creating their own chants, and trying to get themselves over. So
well, at least when they did it at NXT Takeover, it was done with love. They were full sailing it up, as it were, in trying to make themselves the show.
Yeah. Well.
Tonight a little more all over the place. Asuka versus Stacey Coates tonight. So Stacey Coates, what's the wrestler's name?
Her name?
I tweeted earlier. I don't know.
Here, I got her here.
Apparently, she had a tryout. Is the rumor today? So
that was a tryout. Her name is Isla Dawn. Isla or Isla?
Probably Isla.
Isla. Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Good look.
Yeah.
$1,000 richer for a 2-minute match. Good for her.
Yeah.
Asuka looks more dominant, and Asuka added to the Raw women's team.
They're winning, right?
Yeah, I was like, there's no way, right?
Well, you would have thought there's no way they'd have her do a 12-minute match with Emma in her debut where it's 50-50. So you never know. They had Nia Jax, who they were building up last year, submit to Bayley. So you never know. They do weird stuff at these pay-per-views.
Asuka slips on a banana peel.
Did you guys know? I noticed this last Monday, and I tweeted about it. I think I even might have said it on Chair Shot even. Did you notice, like, I definitely think Asuka, after Vince seeing her for the first week on TLC and then the night after when she fought Emma both times, I definitely feel like him or somebody on his team got in her ear and said, you need to be more vocal, a little bit more. Like, I mean, she's always pretty aggressive in the ring, but, like, be more vocal. Like, you hear her screaming in Japanese, and she's screaming more when she's kicking people, which that I don't remember seeing as much of that in NXT. I definitely feel. I mean, I don't dislike it. I'm just wondering if anybody else has noticed. Like, it seems like it's a huge difference. She's being really loud in the ring in these squash matches.
I did not notice that. I'll have to rewatch that.
Yeah, it was more expressive tonight.
Yeah. I could totally see that. Like, feeling like she needs to get her personality a little bit out more. I mean, they teach that in NXT, like, you know, between.
Oh, and I don't want to, like, I mean, she was always good in NXT, but I feel like she's even more vocal now. And I mean, she is such a colorful character, but she's supposed to be such a dangerous competitor. I definitely noticed last week and then again this week that she, like, was just constantly vocal and screaming in the ring, which I don't remember as much of that prior.
Yeah,
that sounds like a Vince thing too. I paid $20 to see the video footage of whatever Japanese gibberish Vince McMahon was saying, doing his imitation of how he wanted Asuka to sound in the ring.
Asuka, you're dangerous. Give him your roar. Make them feel it in their ears.
Yeah, and then he just proceeded to say some stuff that I'm sure some sort of anti-defamation league would just, orchestrate a boycott over. Oh man, but no, I mean, she looked good tonight. Her on the Raw team, it definitely seems.
Could you imagine a rehearsal video of Vince doing the walkthrough of Asuka's entrance, trying to imitate how she, like, rocks out and moves?
That would be awesome.
Hey, in 2K18,
I'd pay good money for that.
Yeah, 2K18, you can make it happen. You know?
Yeah.
I'm asking anybody at WWE production, please whip your cell phone out and just covertly film that. I will pay you on the low down. You'll never even know. WWE will never find out. I will PayPal you money if somebody in production can get just a little cell phone video of that.
Yeah, someone's asking if I'm calling the UK fans pricks. Definitely not. I think the UK shows are some of the funnest of the year, but sometimes they have a tendency to take over, start loud CM Punk chants and disrespectful chants, and that didn't happen at all tonight. I thought the crowd tonight was awesome. The whole show, they were loud, and it didn't come across that way on TV because they did sweeten it a little bit. But I'm a big fan of the UK crowds.
I love them.
Yeah, compared to last week, where were they last week that the crowd was so horrible?
Oh, geez. I feel like everywhere it's horrible in the U.S. nowadays. Like, there's like 2 cities where you're,
that's true,
where you can consistently get a good reaction.
Oh man. Okay, so we'll pick back up the show, but first, Justin, Raj, I believe you got a message from our sponsor.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm back on the Wrestling Inc. Post Raw podcast, courtesy of Stamps.com, because it's not always convenient for me to find the post office. I like the post office; it's great. They're key, but it's not always convenient for me to go to a post office. And right now, you too can enjoy the Stamps.com service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without long-term commitments. Avoid the craziness, especially around the holidays coming up at the post office. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and type in ink. That's INC. Type ink. And Stamps.com, you can never go to the post office again. It's a lifesaver.
It is. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm doing pretty much all of my Christmas shopping online. Very little of it am I going out. And same thing for mailing stuff out, especially this time of the year, the holidays. The lines can be, it just be really busy. And so, just go to Stamps.com. You don't have to worry about that. You just do it from the convenience of your own home, and it's open 24/7, so you can do it anytime. Instead of dealing with large lines of people sending holiday cards and gifts, Stamps.com, it brings all the services of the postal service right to your fingertips. You can buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer, and then the mailman comes and picks it up. It makes it that easy, and they'll send you a digital scale which automatically calculates exact postage, and they will even help you decide the best class of mail every time. So definitely check it out, Stamps.com. Like Justin said, go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and then type in ink, INC. That's stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
It's convenient. I'm one of those guys. I never have cash on me, so like I don't want to have to go to the post office for like a smaller purchase of postage and like have to pay with the debit card and hold up the line. I hate it. So.
So tonight, Samoa Joe versus Apollo Crews. Or no, pardon me, Samoa Joe versus Titus O'Neil with Apollo Crews standing by. We were robbed of that match as Samoa Joe just attacks Titus. And it sets up the match for Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor tonight.
I hope that ends that whole thing and they don't try to do Samoa Joe and Titus next week again, which I'm guessing they probably will. But yeah, what an upgrade, you know. And this was one of those cases where I thought the crowd was awesome. Finn versus Samoa Joe, an old NXT rivalry, revisited. And I thought this match was really good.
Yeah, I agree.
For these two to not have a good match, really. Yeah,
I agree. I thought this was a good treat for the fans, for the UK fans especially, and it was a I don't mean filler in a negative way, but it filled a lot of time. There was a couple segment match, and those two can obviously do it. There's history there, as Raj said, with NXT. And then Titus. I like Titus and everything like that, but it's getting to the point where I'm like, man, what a contract to show up to TV a couple days a week and then go do charity work and be honored for it.
Yeah. I do got to say, I do think that "This is awesome" chant is just used way too often now. Now it's just when it's good, you get a "This is awesome" chant. And this, I'm not saying this match wasn't better than good, but when I'm thinking "This is awesome," I'm thinking like Shawn versus Taker, like something awesome. Like just unexpected, or even if it's expected, but something that really just goes above and beyond. And now you're just hearing it way too often on every show.
But remember, directly before this, we had a squash match and a guitar on a pole match. So
that's true. This was awesome compared to that.
I kind of think that because I agree that "This is awesome" has lost the fact that it gets done too much, or you deserve it, or all I think there's more telling of what really is an awesome moment or something that's really people are thinking. I think there's "This is awesome," which people are rewarding a great sequence, a great match, what have you.
Sure.
But then there's other moments where the crowd is just at such a fever pitch of excitement. We don't get them as often anymore, but they're at such a fever pitch of excitement that they don't have the breath and air to even chant "This is awesome" and choreograph that chant. They're just so into it and on the edge of the seat. There's few and far between moments. I think you get them, you get them when Taker's around. You get them with Brock. I think you get them with Braun. There's certain moments of people are when the situation's right, that the fans are so on edge. They don't have time to even think to chant that. They're just being loud, and you can just feel the energy. And I think that's the real rewarding time now. "This is awesome." It's a good little reminder. Okay, we're working our ass off, and it's getting recognized, but now we don't even have to hear a chant. If you can get that moment of energy, that's really, I think, what you want to aim for now.
Yeah, I just think it comes across. To me, it's way more effective when you got the crowd just going nuts, like Rock versus Hogan, right? Like before that match started, just the crowd was just going insane. But it just takes away when they're chanting "This is awesome." To me, I don't know. There's just something about it that just, I don't know. It's just gives it kind of a cheesy feel.
It feels like you're paying people to be in the crowd to chant that. I don't know.
Yeah, what wrestling promotion would do that? Pay people to be in the crowd.
Yeah,
but
we'll get to that.
Okay, sorry.
We could talk about it now, but let's run through Raw. We're already and then we'll get.
Sorry, Glenn. I'm still doing your rundown.
I wonder if Impact is gonna bring in like a warm up guy to lead them through practicing chants. And teach them the wrestlers' names with photos. So when you see this guy, you cheer. This guy, you boo. You know?
They keep chanting "This is awesome," eh? And they're like, no, that's not how you do it.
The referee comes out. They're like, "Oh, do we chant now?"
More on that later. So double count out to Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor. I think this could be a solid placeholder feud till Bray Wyatt gets back until they figure out what in the hell they're doing with Samoa Joe.
Yeah, Bray is clear. He's working on the tour. So they're just not I guess they're probably just waiting till after Survivor Series to bring him back.
Yeah, UK's not ready for Sister Abigail, man.
Oh man, I still want to see it, but there's no Raw pay-per-view until February. So
I do find it interesting that they have, as Roger said, Bray is clear and he's working the live events. I do find it interesting they have both. Bray's back and cleared, and they were starting to tease some expansion of his character with Sister Abigail, whatever. And then we have Matt Hardy, who's obviously solo because Jeff's hurt, and Matt. They're kind of they got creatively detoured with Matt with Jeff getting hurt before TLC, and so Matt's just kind of not really doing much. And we know that they're Matt wants it, and they tease it, and there's the whole eventual goal of getting Matt to a more broken or awoken state. I do find it interesting that they both of them are being kept off of TV at the moment. I don't know if there's something there that they could be building to, but
yeah. Oh man, I did enjoy
Matt Hardy. By the way, Matt Hardy, Luke Gallows, and Karl Anderson all working on main event today.
Making and all making very good six figures.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Someone's got to find that. Could that be? There's got to be what do you think is the highest talent cost episode of WWE main event ever? That could be it.
Tonight might be it because I have a general ballpark of I know what all three of them are making, and that I can't imagine anybody's ever surpassed that.
No. When they have Brock Lesnar come and only work those dark segments after Raw.
Yeah. But at least when he just works dark segments, there's just an unspoken. It's dark, so it's just for the live crowd. They're putting the three that we're talking about, Hardy, Gallows, and Anderson, on a show
that no one is sure where it airs. No one's sure when or where it actually airs.
Someone knows because we got a guy covering it on the site every week, so someone has access to that show.
At least when it's dark, you acknowledge it's for the local crowd only. This is supposed to be for some television somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're essentially wrestling a match on a Raw recap show. I mean, I've watched main event before. The last time I watched it, it was 40 minutes of Raw recap and then 2 5-minute matches and then commercials for other stuff.
And change the name. Don't call what
main event is very misleading.
Undercard.
A hypocrisy in naming.
WWE prelims.
Just a hypocrisy in naming to call a show main event. This is a rare case. Gallows, Anderson, and Hardy aside, because all three of them have been in the main events before. But most people never have been on the main event. They're on main event. Why?
Right.
So
main event this week. It's Matt Hardy against Kurt Hawkins, and then Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson looking for revenge from last week's Trick or Street fight against Rhino and Heath Slater. So.
That's something we should ask Keith on, if he's able to make it to our podcast at some point. Something, or anyone that's been on main event, how is that? Does party be well, technically it's main event, guys, but then, is it sort of an inside joke?
It means you get to go. It means you get to get back to the hotel and eat first. That's what it means.
Oh, that's true. Do you get to leave early then? I thought leaving early was a big
these guys were all backstage in that segment at the end.
Oh, that's right. Kurt Hawkins.
I said Matt Hardy. Was Matt Hardy out there?
I didn't see Matt. I
didn't see Matt.
I did see Slater.
Yeah, and Gallows and Anderson were back there too.
And Gallows and Anderson, but
they're all Goldust made up.
Yeah,
Goldust with the makeup. But there are other nights because I used to think that the guys had to stay until the end, but that's apparently not true because I guess I know that some of the guys that are on early have left early and they get to meet the hour first. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think when you get the rundown, how long you got to stay and when you got to go, because I think very few guys are there at the very end.
Yeah.
Someone saying Matt was there in that.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, all right.
Okay. I enjoyed Bo Dallas backstage talking about how he doesn't believe in monsters and evil, like Braun Strowman. I thought that was just funny, given who his brother is and stuff. That's such an angle.
Finn Balor needs to have a talk with him. Remember? Yeah. He was saying last month how monsters were real, and
there's a Bo Bray storyline at some point that could really be amazing if they acknowledge that they're brothers. They could really do something cool with that.
Well, what was bizarre is that the week before Bo Dallas joined the Miztourage, Bo had the most Wyatt-like beard grown out.
Yeah.
And made people believe that maybe that they were, because now Bo's back on TV and he had this drawn out beard. I know I saw a lot of people on social media thinking, okay, maybe he's going to be packaged in a new Wyatt family, and then he got joined to a Hollywood groupie thing. It was just.
Yeah, I think the thing is, if you did that, that Bo within a couple weeks he'd just be the job guy of the Wyatts, But I think you can come up with, like now he's all dressed all.
Bray's not the job guy of the Wyatts.
That's why he needs Bo. So Bray
yeah, but you could have Bo like with this, it would be kind of entertaining. It'd be kind of silly, but you had Bo trying to recruit Bray into the Miztourage.
I've said
that would be something unexpected.
Bray in like a white robe and make him the Miz's spiritual advisor. That, because do a playoff, all the celebrities that join, like Scientology or something like that, and have.
You're going to get us sued.
What? I'm just saying, celebrities follow Scientology, Raj. I said nothing. There's nothing pejorative
something that
about
rhymes
that.
with Bientology.
A lot of celebrities, expand their mind and religious perspective. So the Miz deciding that, the Wyatt is going to be his new philosophy and religion. I think that's a storyline that writes itself.
I think any of this would be better than what they got from right now.
Yes.
I'm surprised the Miz and his Hollywood gimmick, they haven't took a shot at Harvey Weinstein yet.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I think the WWE is not, in their glass house.
I'm sure NBC wouldn't want any bit of that on their TV anyway. But yeah, that is true. They do try to stay current with stuff like that, but I think that's a little too much.
Like, you think Vince is getting a briefing every day on the, how current is Vince today? Do you think some guy has been sexually harassing people for 30 years?
I'm guessing with Harvey Weinstein, I'm sure they know him pretty, like the Hollywood insiders and the biggies. I'm sure they're pretty.
If that's the case, maybe if Vince actually does know Harvey Weinstein, maybe it's the case why they're not going to mention him. Vince doesn't want to have any link tied to him.
Yeah.
There haven't been any sort of allegations or anything of impropriety behind the scenes of WWE in quite some time, have there?
Well, there's been a lot in the past suggested, but no one's come out during this whole.
Yeah.
No one's come out specifically against anyone specific. I mean, there's been people on social media talking about how they've had experiences. Taylor Hendricks posted something on Instagram a couple weeks ago.
I got a weird tweet on Friday, and I quoted it and just said interesting because I didn't know what else to do. I got a weird tweet from Billy Gunn's wife, and I don't know what she was insinuating. And I didn't reach out to ask her, but she basically, and I don't know why she chose. I mean, like, I know her, but I don't know why she chose me. But she tweeted about like, it's still my feed. People go back and find it from last Friday. It was something. I'm paraphrasing here. It's basically like, it's crazy. With all these allegations of people in Hollywood are powerful people. When another big name gets added to the list, and she put #karma, and I just quoted, just said interesting ... Like, I don't know who she was trying to refer to, and I didn't ask her or Kip or Billy Gunn. I don't know, but it was weird. I don't know. A lot of people started speculating who she was trying to hint at.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go down that hole because I don't.
Yeah.
Every day it's something new. I don't know about you guys for the past week. It's just kind of, or past week, past month. It's like every day, kind of like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, there have been allegations in the past. Ashley Mazzaro's had some of the past that, there was a lawsuit. So, I have a feeling this is kind of like the Hollywood thing where I think if one did come out, then it would probably start a snowball effect. But it's all kind of
we'll see.
Past ones are being kept in the past, and nothing new has really come up.
Yeah. So of course, Wrestling Inc. If a scandal does break or allegations come forward, Wrestling Inc.
You'll probably
there for all the scandal coverage as it happens.
It's
the world we're living in right now. Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Nia Jax and Alicia Fox, with Bayley and Sasha Banks picking up the win, and Sasha Banks added to the Raw team, but not Bayley.
Yeah, so it gives another week to add Bayley. I mean, who else do they got? I guess Mickie James and Dana Brooke. Yeah, but I don't see them. I mean, they could do Mickie, but I think the plan is. I'll have to double check. I think it has been for Bayley for a while.
Yeah, probably Bayley. I'll be honest. There's no reflection of the girls. It wasn't a bad match. I really wasn't. I don't know. I really wasn't into it. Like, the most entertaining thing to me is I get a weird joy out of watching how crazy Alicia Fox acts. I think it's funny to me. So that to me is was kind of a hook of keeping my eyes glued to the TV. But yeah, I don't know who else you'd go besides Bailey, really.
Yeah, I thought Alicia did a good job again. I think she's been doing really good lately. I thought the way she added Sasha to the team was a little awkward, but other than that, yeah, I think it would kind of completely bury Bailey if they didn't add her to this match. But they seem to like doing that anyway.
Although tonight she was getting the chance, UK crowd. I thought.
Yeah, but she's not near as This is the UK crowd's very NXT friendly, and it's not like she was getting an overwhelming reaction or anything like she would have a year ago.
Oh, yeah, go back and watch TakeOver London, and I mean, it just
right.
I mean, it literally hijacked the show with the Bailey chance. It was just so much. So we'll see. Yeah, I could see her going one-on-one with Mickey next week to determine that final slot.
Yeah, or Alicia, and she says, if you can beat me, then you can be on the team or something like that.
If you can beat me, Alicia Fox. Now, guys, this hasn't really been done before, but if you can beat me.
Well, that's kind of what happened tonight, right? Sasha beat Alicia, and
Alicia Fox is crazy, but she's not that far out of touch with reality. She's not Asuka. Let's just put it that way.
It'll probably be Bailey doing the challenge. Like, if I can beat you, then you let me, add
Alicia should put her captain's cap on a pole, and we should have a captain's cap on a pole.
I think that captain thing is pretty awesome. Her little captain uniform. I think that's pretty great.
I was like, you go back in the podcast. I think it was when Alicia got put in that pre-show match with Nia Jax. I've been all about the way they've been booking Alicia Fox and bringing her back. Her transformation to where she is now, to me, is more impressive than what's going on with Jinder because they didn't rush it as much. But I think it's great that she's getting time to shine on Raw.
And give credit to Foxy. I mean, we forget because she's, she falls under the radar for a long time, and they'll bring her back up for TV for relevancy, and then I think. But I mean, she's been around. I mean, look at the roster. Aside from the people that don't count, aside from like the Triple H's and like that. I mean, she's up there in terms of the most longest time of consecutive years with the company, and there's something to be said for that, both on how the company will just eventually just get rid of talent and move on, and also talent that get fed up with the schedule or booking or whatever. She's hung in there. I think if people would sit and think about the time she's put in.
And let's not forget that according to some WWE superstars, that Melina versus Alicia Fox was their favorite match they ever saw.
Well,
it's amazing that out of that season, she's the one that ended up on the main roster.
Who else was on that?
That was the one with what was it? Marty the Moth.
Oh, the big tall guy ended up winning. Who?
Yeah, Silent Rage.
Andy or something.
Yeah, Big Andy. AJ Kirsch, Broseph Joe Brody from Hood Slam.
Yeah.
He won the Rock the Promo Challenge last year.
Didn't Big Andy get stunned by Stone Cold, and that was like the last thing he did?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah. He had the little promo with Vince. Vince just shat on him.
That was their winner. That was the guy.
The last season of Tough Enough, Josh Bredl. Both those winners got cut.
The Yeti is extinct, folks.
The Yeti is gone, and what's her name? Sarah
Lee.
Sarah Lee.
Having what's his face's baby.
Yeah,
that's her claim to fame.
So they're both released. So
and ZZ. Oh, what could have been.
So the only Tough Enough winner that you could really say has went on to have a good career has been John Morrison, right? Can you think of anyone else?
Well, winner, yeah. I mean,
winner.
I mean, Tough Enough turned out a few people, but winner.
Yeah, well, The Miz and Matt Morgan, of course.
Yeah.
Right
there
back.
was like a month where they seemed like they were pushing Maven after he won season 1.
He eliminated The Undertaker from a Rumble.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he got destroyed after he did it.
Yeah.
He got murdered. But
but hey, Patrick Clark, Velveteen Dream now. I think it's much more interesting than the guys that don't win that go on, or Mandy Rose in NXT.
Well, they're usually the ones that are, because the ones that usually do win are the ones that Vince wants to win, and because seriously, it's like the big guys or the guys with the look, and they're not always the most passionate. And I'm not saying that's the case for Sarah Lee. but because you could tell Vince wanted Mandy Rose to win, and in this case, he was right. But yeah, we'll see. I think Mandy is going to be a big star on the main roster.
Yeah, how's she doing in NXT? I'm not current.
She's improved really. I mean, she's really good for where she's at. For how long she's been wrestling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. So also tonight, after the Bayley and Sasha Banks win, Braun Strowman versus The Miz. Braun winning by DQ. Kane interfering. Like, it's kind of weird that they didn't give us a conclusive ending on this. Would it have hurt The Miz at all to be beat by Braun Strowman? Wouldn't that have kind of brought the story to its natural conclusion?
I prefer that they didn't, just because I hate seeing the champions, a title holder, getting beat.
Yeah.
So I preferred it this way, and the whole thing was Braun and Kane anyway. And I thought that whole little interaction that they had was pretty fun. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this was actually really well handled, because to continue off what Raj was saying, yeah, Miz is a title holder and he's getting ready to go up against Baron Corbin, and Miz did not get 1 ounce of offense in on Braun, which is fine. And I'm the big Braun advocate, and I was before the bandwagon was full at all. So I'm fine with Miz not really getting the offense, and I'm fine with Braun being able to, really battle all 3 of them simultaneously. But yeah, but it had me wondering, like, all right, like, he can't just straight up pin Miz. Like, I don't want to see Miz lose if he's got to get ready to go, be the mid card title holder representing Raw against his counterpart on SmackDown. So I think the Kane thing was the best way to get out of it, and then even that they left unresolved to where they could go back to it. And if you read my thing on Wrestling Inc., I still think that Braun Strowman versus Undertaker is the way that they're going to go for WrestleMania. There's a link obviously there with Kane and such. So,
do you think seriously though the Undertaker can lift Braun Strowman in his current state?
Hopefully he doesn't try a Last Ride or a Tombstone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that offense is going to be pretty weird with Braun. I think.
I don't know if he can. I mean, seriously, not being funny. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's a weird thing. In the last couple of years, we all question, like, what can the Undertaker do? Can he survive this match and this and that? I don't know if he can deadlift Braun up to get him in a position for the Tombstone, but I mean, I guess it could also be creative if we really want to try to get scientific in terms of, somehow he gets Braun straddled on the top ropes and turnbuckle when he gets under him. That, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know, but I do think that, I mean, look, I don't think Taker's done. He's coming to Raw 25, which I'll be at. I'm actually going to be at the Manhattan Center, which I'm looking forward to. And I'm kind of convinced that he's going to have another match, and Braun needs a match. So,
and I'll put it this way: it's not a knock on the Undertaker's age, but it's saying that if you look at his match with Roman Reigns, you can see that the style the Undertaker is accustomed to wrestling to is starting to conflict with his physical abilities, given the medical issues he's developed over. I mean, just really giving his body to the WWE.
And that's a very fair statement, Glenn. But I think one of the good things about Braun is that they could, I mean, he could do a match of Braun that is just a whole lot of strikes and kicks and throw me into a barricade. I throw you into the steps. It wouldn't require a lot of technicality, I guess, so to speak. And, take some pain pills, take whatever shots he's got to take. And,
and it could be a lot of Undertaker just moving out of the way, Braun doing the heavy lifting. When Braun's on offense, he's throwing Taker around. When Taker's on offense, Braun is missing a charge in the corner and, a charge through the barricade and, stuff like that. Taker's a pro. I don't know. I just think if you're going to go out, I think the way he did this last year was the way to go. And because I wouldn't want him to beat Braun, and I wouldn't want him to beat a top guy, if with his career definitely being, nearly over. But at the same time, he's a draw. He's a huge draw for Mania, and it's a huge payday for him. So I could see the lure of coming back, even though he had the hip surgery and everything, and just trying to work around it.
Absolutely. And I've always thought, Raj, that, for years I wanted to see Cena versus Taker. I still want to see it.
I still want to see it.
Right. But maybe Father Time and Father Schedule's not going to let it between the two forces. But what I do think, though, is that, obviously there's significance. It's in New Orleans where the streak was broken. I do think however they get into the match, however they get into the program, and all of a sudden we know, okay, they're building to Braun versus Taker. I've always thought when the audience when the audience knows, they kind of knows that something's coming, it actually makes it that much more valuable. Even if they so my point is, if we have a Braun Taker build to Mania, and somewhere in that build, whether it's Braun initiating it or it's Taker initiating, saying, if Taker loses, you are done. It's retirement. Like if you put the retirement tag on the line, then everybody goes, okay, I think this is probably it. It actually makes everybody tune in even more because this is now it. And I gotta watch this. So, you can't make money off of what people don't know. So if people kind of think they know that this is the last match because the retirement angle's on the marquee, I think there's a lot of business to be done there. So if it does come to where it's Braun versus Taker and there's something on there that says if I lose, I'm done, I think all the interest is heightened even more because then you're like, okay, it probably is done, but nobody's not going to tune in. Nobody's going to go, oh, I know how it ends. I'm not going to watch. No, you're watching with every second.
It's kind of like Flair and Shawn, where everyone knew that Flair was losing, but it added that if that was just his last match, I totally get your point. If that was just his last match, but they didn't hype it as retirement match, it wouldn't have been near as eventful. Yeah. Even though you would have known after the match that it was, but yeah, no, I totally agree. Like billing it as a possible retirement match. If he loses, it could be his last one. It definitely would add a lot to it. And New Orleans, I mean, that would be kind of apropos because that was a very momentous, Mania when he lost. I mean, that was one of the strangest moments, I remember work moments I've ever seen in wrestling.
I was there live, and I thought literally the referee screwed up at WrestleMania, and I was like, "Oh god, that referee's fired." I literally thought it.
Well, the referee thought he screwed up, because you could tell he was a little hesitant, and then when he hit that 3 count, and it just looked like chaos there for a second, like they didn't know what was going on. I was talking to Justin Roberts, and he did not want to read the announcement because he thought it was a screw up.
Wow.
And so,
even it really in this day and age, it's one of the best kept works secret. How few people knew. I mean, hell, I think we've all probably heard somewhere Stone Cold told the story how he was sitting back in the truck next to Kevin Dunn drinking beer watching the match, and then he was surprised. Like, I mean, they really kept it. They really kept it hush. So I mean, that's a chore to do in this day and age.
Yeah, I was talking to Ted DiBiase Sr. after that, and he was convinced months later that it was still an accident. So yeah, it was crazy, and it's one of those because that match, it wasn't that anticipated going in because at that point Brock had already lost quite a few times. The luster was kind of off, and just everyone just assumed Taker was winning that. So there was like just no real interest in that match. But yeah, I think that would be something.
We shall see. So Enzo Amore. Oh man, talk about from Takeover in the UK to tonight in the UK. I don't think I've ever seen him get that negative of a reaction. And if that was the post-production reaction, I know he's a heel now. He's supposed to get heat, but I mean, when have you ever seen Enzo not be able to almost not get through a promo because the crowd is so?
Well, this promo sucked.
It did suck.
But I don't know if that was by design because they easily could have cut it in post-production, Yeah. Because this just felt like it was going on forever. So I wonder if that was the idea, was just to really get the crowd annoyed and to turn on him. So when, Pete Dunne came out, they would just go nuts. And if that was the case, it worked, Yeah,
it worked. And again, I mean, I don't know why you hit Pete Dunne's music and graphic.
Kurt Angle.
Because he has to explain to everyone not in the UK who in the hell Pete Dunne is. Do you think the average WWE fan even knows there's a UK championship?
Well, I mean, but like let Enzo keep talking and then like, you don't even need to hit Kurt's music since we've already heard Kurt's music earlier. Just have Kurt on the mic, just whoa, Enzo, just have him that way, and say, tonight you're not going to fight a cruiserweight, you're going to fight a bruiserweight. And then the people that know who Pete Dunne is and they know the bruiserweight name, they'll start to rise to the energy, and everybody else is still confused. You wait until you hit the music. I assume and I hope, because WWE's production is usually pretty A grade. I assume somebody just hit the wrong. I don't know. I guess because that just was so awkward. I mean, luckily Pete Dunne still got his pop, and I don't think it was damaged, but it was very, very awkward.
Yeah, that's totally what I thought. I thought they miscued the entrance, like they were supposed to hit Angle's entrance, and like you said, they didn't need to do that. But that's what I thought happened, and they accidentally hit Pete Dunne, and it kind of killed his coming out a little bit. Well, actually, it didn't even, because he still got that gigantic pop. But
if it was anywhere other than in England, it might have really damaged it.
Oh yeah, and because nobody knows who he is, outside of NXT. If you did it in Orlando or something, that's one thing. But yeah, I mean, they did it at the perfect spot, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this UK division. It's been there for a year now. Nothing's happened. And I know they've talked about getting TV deals, but they haven't. So
I think the biggest issue is going to be, I think this might be a signal that they're going to use Pete Dunne regularly in the 205 Live division, because if you notice, I don't know what his legit weight is, but Michael Cole did make a point to say he's 5'10", 205.
Yeah.
So okay, he's like the heaviest and top guy within the division rules. And I know in the past conference calls that I've been on with Triple H before NXT events, and he always will field questions about UK and those other projects. While he's always been striving to have a UK show, hence the UK belt, he's always said the task has been figuring out logistics. Does WWE pay their crew to go over and produce X amount of TV? Do they outsource the production to somebody else? And I just don't think they found an answer that they're financially and logistically happy with of how to produce it. Hence why, as you just said, Raj, it's been a year and we don't have anything.
Yeah. You think Vince McMahon knew who Pete Dunne was backstage?
Probably thought he was some local enhancement talent.
Get me another cup of coffee, kid.
I think Vince goes, "Oh, get into your security shirt. We got Braun we got Samoa Joe and Finn fighting in a minute here." I think he probably saw that.
Yeah.
What was I reading online?
Joe's not squashing you tonight. Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Asuka. Yeah. That's what you got for Asuka tonight.
Actually, I have to say, but no,
he can look a little feminine in that time, so you never know.
Hey, Pete Dunne's got a tattoo on his knee, and from somebody that has tattoo on your knee, and
that's what I saw.
He's got more balls than I do.
Yeah, that would hurt. And I think Pete Dunne, I think he's great. His match with Tyler Bate was one of my favorites this year.
Oh, definitely.
As far as a superstar, the look and everything, realistically, that's not the kind of look that Vince likes and that the higher ups push. So I just don't see him getting that far. And kind of, if they do use him on the main roster, being in that 205 Live role.
Wasn't the alliance, I can't remember, I may have even read this on Wrestling Encourage, or one of our guests may have brought this up on the podcast, but wasn't the UK tournament and their deal with some of the UK indies that they have essentially to circumvent, what was it, ITV or Sky?
Yeah.
Was talking about doing some televised UK wrestling promotion?
Yeah, the ITV, they were going to do a 10 episode series earlier this year. So they did a little revival last year. That was a big hit. So they were going to do the series. They were going to tape in, I want to say it was February that they were originally going to tape, and then it got pushed till May. They partnered with Impact or partnered with Anthem, and then they just canceled the May tapings, and that was kind of it. They never heard from again. So yeah. And then once that kind of died, I think WWE seemed to lose interest. They weren't moving as quickly on this project. So
that should be their entire strategy now. They should just hear rumblings of people trying to do something, pay a nominal fee to lock those people up, and they never actually have to compete with it. They can just kill it before it happens.
I mean, if they could get the ITV deal, if they could get something with them because of their reach and with how hot wrestling is in the UK right now, I think it would be a very smart business move.
We shall see. So,
well, I don't know. I don't know if the expenses actually counter that, but we'll see.
I mean, with the WWE talking about profitability, but it's not a volume game. It's quality over quantity, and I don't see with it being I just don't see how anyone could compete with that, with the level of fandom that the WWE has. You know?
Right. And then they are though. They're drawing some big crowds for indie events in the UK.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it only matters for as long as the WWE network is one flat price, it's not worth it. But we've seen obviously the surveys and the talk of them moving into the tiers. If they add tiers of, okay, now you pay this per month, you get this premium content. If it includes UK or whatever, like I think right now though, I mean the WWE network, between all the pay-per-views and they release, I think they just released all this WCCW. I mean, they have so much on there now for the flat rate of people paying. I think now at this point, if you want to ask people to pay more, they are going to have to. That this would be how they do it, is by working stuff like this in.
Right. Well, and I'm not saying you do the UK thing as a network only thing. I'm saying if they were able to get a deal with ITV, and who'd be paying for the show. And you could even do UK specific only pay-per-views. You turn it into like NXT where it has its own takeover. So you have your TV deal in place with ITV, which has a huge reach, and then do, quarterly shows on the network. So you get those more UK fans coming in. You might have something. I don't know.
Yeah. So
or do they watch enough of Raw and SmackDown that, that's just going to be overkill anyway?
Screw it. Put Pete Dunne on main event. Get Hardy back on Raw.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man. So the actual main event tonight, the Raw Tag Team title match, The Bar versus Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. With a fake out of a SmackDown invasion, the New Day showing up, allowing Cesaro and Sheamus to win the Raw Tag Team Championships, going on to face the Usos at Survivor Series, setting up the Shield versus the New Day for that same pay-per-view.
It looks like it is. Nothing's been announced.
Or what about the Shield versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, since they've got nothing going on?
Oh, no. You'd need to do a threesome, and I just don't think you want to do a makeshift.
There's no way they don't do the Shield versus New Day after tonight.
Yeah.
My thought is with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is, since they're kind of like right now the SmackDown outcast, I think when we get to the go home SmackDown 5 days before Survivor Series, obviously Raw has to invade eventually. They have to retaliate. I think I could easily see Owens and or Sami Zayn open that back door, letting Raw come in. No, seriously, and maybe one or both of them defect to Raw because obviously they're upset with Shane, and with Kevin Owens' case, he's ran his course on SmackDown. There's really nobody else for him to work with there. I could easily see them being the defectors, like open up the door, let Raw come in. Raw gets a retaliation, big go home SmackDown, and then I'm not sure what Owens and or Zayn do at Survivor Series, but I think their involvement has something to do with the main Raw versus SmackDown match, and New Day versus Shield makes the most sense.
Yeah, I could see Owens and Zayn costing Shane's team the match at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And Braun and Kurt winning the match for the baby faces, but I could totally see that, because next week that's got to be it. That's the go home, and so you would think that the Raw retaliates on Tuesday night, a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, so kind of a weird episode of Raw tonight, but it's putting the pieces in place for Survivor Series.
For the UK shows, they used to treat them like holiday shows where nothing happens. And so at least tonight stuff happened. They built to certain things. So I thought it was an entertaining show overall.
Yeah, I mean, you rarely get a title change on a tape show like this. So. Yeah,
and speaking, and we'll get to that, a title match tomorrow night. And when's the last time they let's finish Raw and we'll get to that.
Yeah, so it was Monday Night Raw. Is there much more to say about tonight's Raw, Raj?
I guess that was it. But new tag team champions, Cesaro and Sheamus. New Day interfered. The Raw roster, the Raw Mid card guys came out, kind of
Got to see
chasing them
Goldust
back.
on TV
Got
again.
to see Goldust. Someone saying Matt Hardy was there. I missed him. And yeah, that was that. Roman Reigns, they announced that he'll be back on Raw next week. I would have kept that a surprise.
Yeah.
You know, kept that the Shield New Day thing and have Roman coming out be more of a surprise than announcing it. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, advertising it does also make you want to tune in the next week. So I can't fault them for that.
That's part of the culture that we're in right now. I mean, to make a comparison, I'm not sure if you've seen all the think pieces talking about, oh my God, I can't believe Marvel kept advertising that the Hulk was in the new Thor movie. And it's like, yeah, that's why it opened so big, because people knew the Hulk was in the Thor movie. It's kind of the same thing with Roman. There were people that will tune in if they know Roman's back next week.
Yeah, if it's like one scene, like the, you know, Spider-Man was in that, whatever the last one was.
Yeah.
Which one?
Civil War.
Yeah, yeah. So when it's something small like that, I think it's, you know, it's good to just have it be a surprise. But yeah, the Hulk, I guess, was a big part of that movie, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's been a good half of it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what city they're in next week for Raw, but yeah, like
Atlanta.
Okay, so going back to the advertising thing, yeah, I mean, there might have been no way around it to where, I mean, it might have been just a case of, you know, Atlanta wants to vocally promote that we have Roman Reigns coming, and it was going to get out one way or the other. So you just say Roman Reigns coming. Again, you can't make money off what you don't advertise.
Yeah, but you already got Brock. You would think that would be enough.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, they did advertise Brock as well.
And they haven't advertised Cena yet as the special referee. So I guess that would be next week too, that announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you get into that? Like, I mean, I guess, like, yeah, literally, how does Cena pop up and go, I'm going to be the referee for this? I don't know.
It's probably going to be a video package.
For the set of his movie, yeah.
Yeah, like, what does he do? He satellites in from a
Oh man, it's gonna.
You know, probably Kurt Angle comes out and says, "I found a special referee. This match is so big, I got a special referee." And boom, Cena's on Titantron. Cuts a short promo.
So if that's gonna happen, you'd almost have to think that if Lesnar's advertised for Atlanta next Monday, you'd almost have to think that Heyman and Lesnar come out, do their normal shtick. Jinder's music should probably hit. Jinder should probably show up on Raw. Have the first time we see them both on the same show, and then maybe it leads to the next night on SmackDown to where it's announced that, you know, oh my God, this epic match, assuming this will happen, we need a referee that can handle it, you know.
Well, I mean, they could do it because SmackDown's not running a live event next Monday. So the whole crew could be there if they wanted to. But yeah, I mean, I totally could see Jinder and Brock and you have the face-to-face, but I could see that leading to Angle announcing Cena as the ref, like to end that segment. Yeah. And, you know, that's where I see them going.
Do you guys see the video, speaking of Thor, of Jeff Goldblum asking the interviewer what Breezango was? Because there was an interviewer at the junket that was wearing a Breezango shirt. Jeff Goldblum, like his fascination with the fact wrestling is a worldwide phenomenon now. It's very cute. But yeah, oh man.
Is it a worldwide phenomenon now? Is it more than it was before?
I think it's because the interviewer was British. So he was asking, you know, like, oh, but you're British. You follow wrestling? It's like, oh, it's worldwide now.
Yeah.
I was like seeing Jeff Goldblum say Breezango.
I don't know. They did 80,000 people at Wembley Stadium, you know, in the 90s. Yeah. So it's been worldwide for a while.
Yeah. Oh man.
So
yeah.
SmackDown tomorrow.
Ellsworth versus Becky Lynch.
And Ellsworth is, you know, teasing that he wants to be captain of Team SmackDown if he wins. Could you imagine if they did that? he wins the Money in the Bank, the first ever women's Money in the Bank, and then they did that.
To make him the women's captain. At this point, why not?
I could see them doing it.
But yet the feminists have nothing to say when he's got a dog collar and a chain attached to him. It's all like, I find it so comical. I don't get offended by hardly anything. So I find it anytime that we can piss off any special interest group, and I'm not even against any of the special interest groups. I just find it fun.
I don't think you can watch the WWE if you're offended by anything that would have been considered normal humor.
People were offended last Monday that the trash truck wasn't the same color as the one it was in Minneapolis when Braun got stuffed into it. That one was white. The one in Baltimore was red.
Well, that's not offended.
Yeah, that's just continuity nerds.
Yeah, that's just nerding out.
Yeah. Again, the WWE better worry if they ever lose those fans, because apparently that's what's keeping them in business. The fact that they will spend obscene amounts of money on this often mediocre product. So Jinder's facing AJ Styles tomorrow night on SmackDown.
WWE Championship announced, changed at the last minute because they announced on SmackDown last week that Rusev would be facing AJ Styles and this week, and the winner of that would fill the last spot on Team SmackDown. The next day, just randomly, they're AJ Styles versus Jinder for the title, and they've been making it a point to say that it's for the title. Obviously, that got a lot of talk. People wondering what happened. Like, is Jinder injured? Did they decide they want Jinder to lose now and then regain the title in India when they go next month? Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure. My guess is that the rating last week was low. I think it was the second lowest since the lowest I think was election night. So this was the second lowest after that. But it was Halloween. Last time they aired on Halloween, it didn't have as much as a hit from the week before, but it also was against the World Series. So, so it was lower, but it was to be expected. Maybe it was more than they anticipated, and they panicked a little bit. My guess is that's it. They just wanted to throw something big out there. It's going to be a DQ or something like that, where Jinder leaves with the title, and AJ ends up on Team SmackDown anyway. So that's my guess. I don't know that for a fact. But the fact that Jinder has been working all the live events on the tour, he's doing media. If there was anything more to it, I don't think he'd be doing that. The fact that they had that long Jinder Brock promo during tonight's Raw, I don't know if they waste their time airing that if that wasn't going to be the main event, if they're going to switch to AJ and Lesnar. So to me, all the signs point to Jinder and Lesnar. And again, Jinder is doing a lot of media overseas, and a lot of those stories aren't going to be published, are about Lesnar, and they're not going to be published until later this week and next week. So it just seems like it kind of kills all that.
And those are all key points, Raj, because I same thing. Then when they changed the match for SmackDown and they made a big deal about AJ versus Jinder, you go, okay, like did Jinder fail a test? Is he injured? What's happening? But you're right. Tonight was a huge sign. If something did happen to where they had changed their mind and they were going to have AJ beat Jinder, then I think the space and time in tonight's programming that they used to hype Jinder versus Lesnar would have been used of, hey, check out this thing that's going on SmackDown tomorrow. This new, you're right. They put so much time into Jinder versus Brock. It doesn't make sense that they're going to change that again, come Tuesday SmackDown. So you're probably right. It probably is just something to try to get, a little bit of a reactionary buzz, reactionary movement to try to get some buzz back on SmackDown after a low rating for whatever reason you can attribute it to. But I don't see Jinder dropping it to AJ. It would be very bizarre. Again, as we said, all the time they did put in tonight to having that match advertised for Survivor Series, and if it changed, that would just be,
Yeah, and again, that promo, like what you said, I think the focus would have been who is Brock Lesnar going to face at Survivor Series. AJ's facing Jinder, and they didn't even really mention that. They mentioned that AJ is facing Jinder tomorrow night, but never really mentioned the possibility that, or never really stressed that the winner of that is going to face Lesnar, and it's wide open who Lesnar is going to face at Survivor Series. They did a promo for the match, and then after they're like, oh, by the way, he's also defending the title tomorrow.
And can I just say this right now? Let me put this disclaimer out there. Everybody that's getting ready to get really mad at me, make sure you put hashtag LaBar sucks. AJ Styles is arguably the best in the world at what? At in-ring, bell-to-bell pro wrestling performance. And I'm talking, technique, athleticism, ability in the ring. But if you really want to try, I mean, look at how Brock Lesnar sold. Jinder Mahal might be dog poop to a lot of you, but Jinder Mahal is still 6'7" and jacked to where if you put him side by side in a stare down and a weigh-in with Brock Lesnar, he, at appearance, forget what you know about his wrestling record, he looks like he's a threat. When you put AJ Styles side by side with Brock Lesnar, he doesn't look like a threat. And how do you book a Brock Lesnar AJ Styles title, but champion versus champion, but no title on the line match? Like, how do you have what of AJ Styles does Brock Lesnar sell? And I mean that honestly, and that's not a knock on AJ Styles, but what does Brock sell of AJ Styles?
It would look silly.
Yeah,
AJ even jump up high enough to hit him with the forearm?
The forearm is, AJ could make it work, but Lesnar selling too much for AJ would hurt. I don't think Vince would want to do that. I don't think I don't think they'd want to do that. I don't think they want him selling.
It's all, when you put Brock side by side against the Sheamus, which I think they did that at one of the live events recently, like. It's just all about, because they book Brock's matches more realistically than anybody else because of his background. It's just about appearance. Like Connor from the Ascension, who hasn't won a match since 19 but Connor is built like a big sumbitch. You could put Connor next to Brock Lesnar and at least on picture.
It looks right. Yeah.
It looks right. Yeah.
With AJ, it looks like Michael J. Fox trying to fight Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like
it's just appearance. It's just appearance. And
a lot of people, real quick, just sorry, I don't mean to kill your thought, but people pointing out Jinder's 6'5", but
oh my God, 6'7" to 6'5". AJ's not even 6 foot, so let's just relax. And again, I like AJ, the independent wrestling company that I help run here in Pittsburgh. We've had AJ here many a times. I like, again, I'm trying to make everybody know I'm an AJ Styles fan, but I'm just putting it out there that when you put him side by side with Brock and the way Brock is booked and perceived, it just doesn't. It'll be the same problem with Finn Balor. Same problem.
AJ's 5'8", Brock Lesnar 6'3", Jinder 6'5".
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think that the physical dichotomy there between AJ and Brock. So the thing is, I think Brock versus AJ would be a better match.
Sure.
In ring, but I think Brock and Jinder is way more interesting because what's going to happen with AJ. AJ will get a little bit of offense, but mostly get squashed. And I don't want to see that. I don't think it does anyone any good. Though Jinder and Brock, I don't really know. I don't think they're going to have Jinder just go out there and get squashed. I don't know. I don't think Jinder's winning by any means. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it was a DQ with the Singh brothers getting involved or just Brock winning, but I don't think Brock wins a squash with Jinder. So I just find it way more interesting on how they're going to go with that. Whereas with AJ, I just kind of feel like I know. You saw how Vince booked Kane and Finn Balor. You saw, you just know.
If Braun and Samoa Joe can't beat Brock, I just don't see AJ Styles doing it. With Finn Balor, I think Finn, if they do that at a pay-per-view, I think Finn will get in a phenomenal amount of offense, but still ultimately lose.
Finn?
If they do Finn versus Brock.
Finn just was destroyed by Kane. I don't think they're going to give him more against,
It's in the main event. You gotta do something. You got to do something. It can't be, but Finn will do like the coup de grace and Brock will just kind of pop right up.
I think it would be similar to when he wrestled Roman at Mania, where Brock took most of that match, but Roman would get those hope spots, and it was a really intriguing matchup that they had. So I could see them doing that.
That's a good question. When you just mentioned, I know we're a few weeks away from Survivor Series, but what ends the night? Does Jinder versus Brock end the night, or does the Angle versus Shane team thing in the night?
Yeah, I would think it would be Jinder and Brock.
Maybe if 2 world champions. I mean,
yeah, in another era. Well, again, the competition between Raw and SmackDown is so forced. No one really believes like they're, even though they really are. I mean, when you have the separate brands, they really are trying to be better than the other. And, Matt Morgan would talk about how, or anyone during that period will talk about how competitive it really was, but the fans don't see it and they don't feel it. It's not like WCW and WWE, where if you had the WCW when they were separate companies, champion and WWE champion, that would be the biggest thing. And, you know, if you did Goldberg versus Steve Austin back during that period, it would be the, you know, the biggest pay-per-view of all time.
The Survivor Series match should be Raw captained by Vince McMahon, SmackDown captained by Road Dogg. Let's have that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So I think that should be the match that ends it. But I don't know if I mean, you know, honestly, what's probably going to have the most interest? I think Angle coming back, because he already came back. It just doesn't feel like there's a big anticipation for that match. I could see it being the Shield and the New Day, depending on how they do it next week. But, you know, if they do that big, I could see that being the most anticipated thing on the show.
Definitely big stars. So I know we're going long tonight, folks, but two more things we have to touch upon. Have to. Chris Jericho, New Japan. What's the story on this, Raj?
So yeah, he's it's not known if it's, you know, if it's a one-time deal or he's doing a few dates, but it's the first time in almost 20 years that Jericho's wrestling outside of WWE, which is huge. I mean, that he's never wrestled since he left WCW for WWE. He's never wrestled for another company. So yeah, it's a big deal, and I think it adds a ton more excitement to that. I'm sure Jericho wouldn't do it if he thought, you know, WWE would be upset. So I'm sure he's doing it with their blessing.
Do you think so? Because I mean, the story, everything I've been reading online is saying this all happened because they wouldn't give him NXT wrestlers for his cruise. So he decided to get Ring of Honor. Yeah,
I think that is all part of it, but I don't think it's like a strained relationship. He needed something for his cruise. WWE wasn't helping out, so he went somewhere else. But I don't think he would do it if he thought WWE, it would really damage his relationship with WWE.
Yeah,
I agree. A couple things. First off, I know for a fact that when they found out that Reigns and Wyatt, some of these guys have what we now know as the mumps, that when they were going through their, you know, I know that Jericho was an option.
They contacted him.
So, you know, it's not like they haven't been talking to Jericho. Like he's always on Vince's speed dial, essentially. So that's number one. Number two, you know, like Chris Jericho did. We have here in Pittsburgh, we have a thing called Steel City Con a couple times a year. It's just our Comic Con, and they bring on all the normal wrestlers and people from pop culture. Jericho came to Steel City Con last year, and it was the same night that we were doing our independent IWC wrestling show here in Pittsburgh. He came, showed up, hung out backstage. We asked him, figuring he'd say no, can you come out and do like a ring announcing spot? And he said, as long as you don't put it on your DVD, because Vince will sue you. Yes. So he came out and ring announced a match for us. It was phenomenal, and our live crowd attendance was great from that point on. And so my point to saying that is that he's very much a guy from that point, and from the little bit I've talked to him, he's very much a guy who, like, you know, he knows his value. He knows the leverage he has now. Like, you know, it's almost like WWE needs him more than he needs WWE. He's made a successful music career. He is who he is in wrestling. So I truly do think, you know, he wants to do this with Wrestle Kingdom, the Wrestle Kingdom show with New Japan. He's going to do it. I think that he's smart enough. He knows how to pitch and talk to Vince. He knows how to pitch things to Vince that where whenever if it hasn't happened already, which it probably has, but whenever Vince calls him and says, hey, pal, I heard you're doing this, Chris will be able to pitch to him and say, yeah, but here's how it's going to work out for you. And whether it's somebody appearing at Royal Rumble, whether it's a WrestleMania match, whether Vince gets part of the gate, I don't know. But Chris Jericho knows how to talk to Vince McMahon. So at the end of the day, this just proves that Chris Jericho is the smartest person in the effing room.
Yeah. He's a genius, man. And to your point, you know, he goes to New Japan. When he does eventually return to WWE, it makes it a bigger surprise because now you don't know. It's not a given anymore. You know, now he's somewhere else, and you know, we don't know. And his cruise isn't for another year, and he's got ROH talent on that cruise. So
got a lot of cabins to book.
Yeah. So, does that mean that he's not going to be back in WWE before that point? Because he's clearly working with Ring of Honor.
He's pimping
at
the
that.
Young Bucks.
So
They're going to be on his cruise. I mean, he's got
I'm sure he'll probably want to wrestle himself on that.
Yeah.
So
maybe Vince will do what he did when Jericho was on Dancing in the Stars, and Vince will call New Japan and say, "Okay, so what's my cut of the deal?"
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So. Yeah, but I think, you could have had Omega versus, a bunch of other guys that would have had an awesome, probably better matches. Even though Jericho, I think it'll still be a really good match. But this, I think, is way more interesting than for a typical American fan than anything they've had in a long time.
Oh, huge easily. For New Japan. Huge for New Japan.
Yeah.
Trying to get more of a foothold in the American market with just interest from the casual wrestling fans. So, stay tuned to Wrestling Inc. for all the latest on how that develops. So last story, Impact Wrestling in Canada, doing some tapings. Fans, you can come and help set up the ring. Not fans, we'll pay you to come and pretend you're fans.
Oh boy.
Yeah, where do you begin? Folks.
Why didn't they? So Bound for Glory was sold out. Why didn't they just give Why didn't they just give 5 tickets to each fan, free tickets, and be like, here, these are, open tickets. You just come, you can fill in wherever we need you.
You want to know why?
You can hand them out.
You want to know why? Because you hand those free tickets to them and say, come back to another taping and be enthusiastic. Be enthusiastic after this bullshit finish to Bound for Glory. Sorry, you said F. I figured
I yours wasn't as bad as mine. So, yeah. I mean, good God, this company we've said it 1,000 times. I'd love for them to be an alternative to WWE. I'd love for them to be strong and doing well.
They're an alternative. But,
they're an alternative, but they keep shooting themselves in the foot. Now it's just to the point where it's just like they're sinking and they've got rocks tied to their feet and they're just not doing anything to improve their situation.
They're an alternative like the Sears catalog is to Skinamax. That's just
yeah, I'm going to get chastised by TNA fans. And yes, I still call it TNA. As long as it's Impact, it's hard to get away from TNA. But man, it's just, they've let go all of their full-time referees. They have no full-time referees now. They're using local, Canadian referees.
And that's hard because they count the matches in the metric system. So,
Yeah.
How coincidental they get rid of Earl Hebner when we were just days away from the 20th anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob
in Canada. They could have done their own thing.
Do you guys think the Natalya match they're gonna pull something with Carmella maybe in that a little 20th anniversary tribute?
They love going back to it, but I don't know. It just feels like. It would just feel so outdated. I don't know.
That's true. I know.
I agree.
But yeah, so Impact.
$50 so $50 a night. The details are on the website. Go to Wrestling Inc. and find out how you could be paid $200 to go to this week's Impact television tapings, Tuesday through Friday.
I mean, that's saying something, right? Because you would think that most of the time just a free wrestling show would get people there.
Yeah, I mean, I know Lucha Underground for television purposes. I think they I'm not sure if it was free or they paid. I forget now.
And they use those TV ticket services and whatnot.
Yeah, because they film like a TV show. Like
you have to tape their all. Like I don't know if you've ever seen a sitcom be taped, but that is very long. Like. Yeah. They give out prizes and they feed you, and because people just want to leave after 2 hours.
Yeah. Right. So to jump on the Lucha Underground thing real quick from experience, I actually got into a debate with somebody tonight when I made a comment about Impact Wrestling paying fans, and somebody said, "Oh, well, just like Lucha did, it's TV wrestling," and I said, "I don't know if Lucha ever did." I went out to Lucha Underground for the season finale of season 2. And obviously I wasn't paid by them. I was out there as a media guest, and I saw just the rabid fans that were waiting to get there, and there was no paying those fans. And then when you got in, like Glenn said, it was like a TV sitcom. They said, like, okay, you can't get up during any match. There's none of that. It's not like a normal wrestling show where you can get up and come and go as you please. As I tweeted that, not to name drop, but I'm just telling you the result. Tommy Dreamer texted me, saw my tweet, and Tommy Dreamer said, "Hey, bro, I want to let you know they actually did have people they paid for season 1." And I said, "Well, how did it work?" He said that season 1 they actually gave away like a season pass of tickets for free. Of like, if you're committed to coming back on these taping days every day, we'll give you this pass, and that's what they did. So I guess for at least for season 1, that's what they did.
Yeah, you have to build a fan base. I think you're right, because if you see empty seats, no one's going to take it seriously at home.
Right, but
other stuff they do for movie extras, like if they're filming a concert scene, they'll give away a car to one person, but everyone has to stay through the concert scene to get in that drawing. So it's not unheard of to do this.
Well, a TV show, if you're an extra, you get paid something, right? Yeah. If you're in the background, not like if you're in a crowd, but if you're an extra, you get paid. Yeah. But TNA has not been. This is new territory, because they weren't paying people for Bound for Glory. You can buy tickets for the tapings, so it's.
Well, let's keep in mind too. I mean, WWE doesn't pay fans, but WWE does have seat fillers.
Paper, yeah.
You paper.
They have seat fillers that will come and sit in seats for the 5 minutes you go to the bathroom because they don't want TV to look empty.
Yeah. Right, but that's very different.
Now, my recommendation to anyone that does this, cash. Do not take a check from this organization.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the wrestlers are like, "Damn, I should take that deal."
What happens if the fan FedEx quicker than the talent?
See Eli Drake just be like, I'll take the $200. It's more than I made at Bound for Glory.
That's such like a southpaw wrestling move. The wrestler that's like, "What, man, it's $200. I'm just gonna go," like in a fake mustache sitting in the audience.
Yeah, the whole roster is just in the audience for their $200. I can see that.
Oh my God. We want Impact to succeed. I mean, we do. It's just you could not have scripted a worse year for them.
Justin, has Impact gone past the point of no return?
Yeah, it is. It is, and like our sentiment, it's not that we want it to fail. Obviously, that means lost opportunity and lost jobs for people, but it's past the point of PR reconciliation. I'm thoroughly convinced that Vince and WWE will hand Anthem a nice check that'll make them feel like they have a safe out in this investment. And that check will mean we get the video library. So we have Samoa Joe's highlights. We have Kurt Angle's highlights. We have Sting. We have AJ Styles. We have, for the diehard couple people that are Impact Wrestling fans, we have that for the network. Like, I just don't see, like, Dixie's gone. Jeff's gone. Anthem's hemorrhaging money. I don't see an out. I don't see somebody else. Billy Corgan's gone. I don't see somebody else swooping in going, my financial advisor said this would be a great addition to my portfolio.
Yeah, it would be a much smarter decision if you had that kind of money to just start from scratch.
Imagine what they could do. Imagine, and then when they buy that video library, depending on how Vince and his genius lawyers work this, they buy the broken thing. So now you have Matt Hardy taken care of. Now you had the video for the Matt Hardy DVD in 5 years when he retires from WWE. Like, it makes too much sense for it not to happen. Yeah. And again, I don't want to ring the death bell to those who are hardworking that are there, but if we're just talking reality, I don't see any other outlet.
But could you imagine the price tag a year ago or 2 years ago versus now? Like, that check just keeps getting smaller and smaller.
Well, that's what I mean. And so here, and this is a real talk right now as we're doing this. So just about a year ago, and maybe I did this, and well, I did do it. I'll be honest. I'll admit my mistake. I did it. I tweeted too quickly. It was a bad reporter journalistic decision. I had tweeted too quickly a text that I gave great merit to, and then a phone call that I followed up on that Vince was inquiring about buying the library. Now, this is when we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if Billy Corgan was going to take all this stuff. And at the end of the day, obviously at that point, Vince did not buy the library. And I got the naysayers saying, oh, well, great job there. I missed the mark. And yeah, I was wrong at the time. I have pure confidence that eventually is going to come to fruition. That check of whatever it was, Glenn, what the price tag was, is getting smaller and smaller by the day. That Vince is going to get that library for a cup of coffee. Anthem's going to take that check, and again, they're going to get out feel successfully, or at least not have lost too much. And again, there's going to be people that are going to lose their jobs. That's not a funny matter, but no. I'm fully convinced, and I don't know what the timetable is, that WWE's going to have that library, and that's going to be that.
Do you think Anthem is just shooting themselves in the foot over fighting Billy Corgan over acquiring it?
I do. I had heard something from somebody who used to work for TNA about 6 months ago. Like, they gave me a figure of what they heard that Anthem was losing per week trying to be in the wrestling business with TNA, and it was an astonishing figure. And it doesn't make sense. Like, and it just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. TNA is such a damaged fruit. There's just no going back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do at this point. I mean, they're not going to get major talent. Although I guess so from Bound from Glory. So Del Rio's back.
Yeah, I was on a media call with him on Saturday, and I asked him about Paige and Jeff Jarrett being gone. So he did not. Alberto did not realize that John Morrison was back, who was in Johnny Impact, who was in the main event of last night's Bound for Glory, in a match that he interfered in. He didn't realize any of the stuff going on with TNA.
And
wait, he didn't know? Like, well, you didn't know the storylines, or you just didn't know? Like,
he knew nothing. He didn't know Johnny Impact was back with TNA. He was talking about how it would be great if Johnny Impact could come into the company someday.
Yeah, she'd be like, I'm excited to come back there and wrestle with guys like Matt Morgan and Rockstar Spud.
and going off of that, he cuts a promo.
Oh gosh,
he cuts a promo.
It's like Enzo's tonight, but
yeah,
but worse.
He didn't, and I know if I ever see Alberto, I know he kicked my ass. So here we go. He cut a promo where he didn't shut up, and he's talking about like how the company treated him bad, and they distanced themselves over this. Bro, you had there was allegations of like what?
Yeah, like, why are you bringing this up? Just
yeah. I mean, I don't even know the words, but fill in the gaps for me here. Like,
but so we have an article today. So Alberto, obviously, that's storyline. He doesn't blame the company for what happened. He still claims that it was his idea to be stripped of the title, which I don't think many people believe. But
no wrestler in the world's ever come with that fucking booking scenario.
Yeah, right.
Hit me to the title.
All right, yeah. So
Raj, F word, sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll have to throw the parental advisory.
We're on the after hours here at this point.
Yeah, we should probably wrap.
Yeah, for an uneventful Raw, this is quite the podcast. So what do we got coming up Wednesday? We're going to talk about SmackDown Live. Maybe we'll have a guest.
Possibly a guest. Yeah, possibly a current WWE star. Hopefully Wednesday. Otherwise, it might be next week. But we're working on it.
Wednesday, 12 noon. Justin, where can people find you on the interwebs?
At Justin LaBar on Twitter, hit the follow. I will try to respond. And of course, every weekend I'm on Wrestling Inc.'s YouTube channel. We have our Chair Shot reality video show. If you haven't ever checked it out, I encourage you to. It's different in this kind of format. It's in studio, a little bit more scripted talk show format. I hope you enjoy. Check it out. And of course, I'm also writing columns for Wrestling Inc., which I've having a good time with. So check that out as well.
Yeah, and check out his latest column on Saturday. Just go to the site. It's about WrestleMania 34. What are the 5 big matches, right?
4 big matches, and then talking about, people always talk about the venues and why I think UK is not going to happen, at least not in Vince's lifetime. And I also Hint, hint, wink, wink, kind of give you my thought of where WrestleMania 35 will be.
All righty.
We shall see. So until next time, folks, I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.